And welcome. I will be answering Jamb 2020 Chemistry Past Question 1. Hydration of ions in solution is associated with A. Absorption of heat, B. Reduction of heat, C. Conduction of heat, and D. Libration of heat. Now, when ions undergo hydration in a solution, heat is always liberated. So when ions undergo hydration in a solution, it is noted that this kind of hydration reaction is an exothermic reaction. Hydration reaction is an exothermic reaction, and exothermic reaction is a type of reaction in which heat is liberated to the surrounding. So because hydration reaction is an exothermic reaction which involves liberation of heat, option D is the correct answer to this question, because the question is asking us that hydration of ions in solution is associated with what? Associated with liberation of heat, which is an exothermic reaction. So option D is the correct answer to the question. Thank you, and ensure subscribe to the channel for more videos and past questions. And welcome. I'll be answering Jamb 2020 Chemistry Past Question 2. When sodium reacts with water, the resulting solution is A. Weak acid, B. Neutral, C. Acidic, and D. Alkaline. Now the reaction of sodium, which is Na, plus water, which is H2O, will give us sodium hydroxide and liberate hydrogen gas. Now balancing this equation, we have 2 sodium plus 2 H2O to give us 2 moles of sodium hydroxide and 1 mole of hydrogen gas. Therefore, the resulting solution here is alkaline, because sodium hydroxide is an alkali. So the answer to this question is option D, alkaline. Thank you, and ensure subscribe to the channel for more videos and past questions. Hello, good day, and welcome. I will be answering Jamb 2020 Chemistry Past Question 4. A small quantity of solid ammonium chloride was heated gently in a test tube. The solid gradually disappeared to produce a mixture of 2 gases. Later, a white, cloudy deposit was observed on the collar part of the test tube. The ammonium chloride is said to have undergone A. Distillation, B. Sublimation, C. Precipitation, and D. Evaporation. Now, looking from this statement, you will observe that the ammonium chloride, when heat was applied, changes directly from the solid state into the gaseous state without passing through the liquid state, and this process is known as sublimation. Sublimation occurs when a substance changes directly from the solid state into the gaseous state without going through the liquid state. And that is what happened here. When heat was applied to the ammonium chloride, it changes directly into gas. Then it's cooled back to give the ammonium chloride again, and that is sublimation, which is option B. Distillation here is used to recover solvents from solution. When you have a mixture of solvent and solid and you want to recover back the solid, you use the solvent to use distillation. Then precipitation here is used to separate 2 solutes. When you have 2 solutes and one can easily precipitate, that is, form precipitates in a solution, that's when this precipitation is used. Then evaporation is used to obtain a soluble solute. It's used to obtain a soluble solute from a solution by removing the solvent completely through the application of heat. So the answer to this question is actually option B, sublimation, the changing of the substance from the solid state directly into a gaseous state without passing through the liquid state. Thank you, and you should subscribe to the channel for more videos and past questions. Good day and welcome. I will be answering Jamb 2020 Chemistry Past Question 6. In the oil drop experiments by Milcan determined the dash: A. Charge to mass ratio of the electron, B. Mass of the electron, C. Charge of the electron, and D. Mass of the proton. Now, in the oil drop experiment, which was conducted by R.A. Milcan, he was a scientist. He conducted the oil drop experiment. In this experiment, R.A. Milcan in 1910 successfully measured the charge of an electron, or the charge of the electron. He successfully measured the charge of the electron using this oil drop experiment, and he discovered that the charge of the electron is equal to minus 1.6 times 10 raised to the power of minus 19 coulomb. That is, for every electron present in an atom, the charge of that electron is minus 1.6 times 10 raised to the power of minus 19 coulomb. And this was done after J.J. Thomson discovered the charge to mass ratio of an electron. So R.A. Milcan discovered the charge of an electron using the oil drop experiments. So the answer to this question is option C, charge of an electron, which is minus 1.6 times 10 raised to the power of minus 19 coulomb. Thank you, and you should subscribe to the channel for more videos in past questions. Good day and welcome. I will be answering Jamb 2020 Chemistry Past Question 7. The stability of ionic solids is generally due to A. Negative electron affinity of most atoms, B. Crystal lattice force, C. Electron pair sharing, and D. Positive ionization potentials. Now, ionic solids are solids formed by mostly metals and non-metals. Example is the sodium chloride. Sodium chloride is formed from sodium, which is a metal, and chloride is a non-metal. Now, during ionic bonding, it involves the sharing of it involves the transfer of electron from one atom, which is the metal, to the second atom, which is the non-metal. Now, the transfer of electron from sodium to chloride enables the formation of ionic bond. Now, due to this transfer of electron, there is a very, very strong intermolecular force between the atoms of sodium and atom of chlorine, thereby making them to form what we call crystal. They form crystal. Now, this force that holds the lattices of this crystal enables what? The strong stability of these compounds. And so the answer to this question is option B. Crystal lattice force is responsible for the stability of all ionic solids like sodium chloride. So option B is the correct answer to this question. Thank you, and you should subscribe to the channel for more videos and past questions. Hello, good day and welcome. I will be answering Jamb 2020 Chemistry Past Question 8. The oxidation state of chlorine in HOCl, HClO3 and HClO4 are respectively dash. Now, these are so we are asked to find the oxidation state of chlorine in each of the following compounds. Now, in the first compound, which is HOCl, the oxidation state of chlorine here would definitely be -1. Is -1. That's the oxidation state of chlorine. Now, for the next compound, which is HClO3, now to calculate the oxidation state of chlorine here, we'll have the oxidation state of hydrogen to be 1, that of chlorine, which we don't know, let's call it plus C, then plus 3 multiplied by the oxidation state of oxygen, which is -2, is equal to 0. From this we can say Cl is equals to, now 3 times -2 will give us -6, so we have 6 here taken to the right hand side, and then -1, so Cl is equals to plus 5. Then for HClO4, it will give us 1 plus Cl plus 4 multiplied by -2 equals 0. So this will give us Cl is equals to 8 -1, and that is equals to +7. So the oxidation states of chlorine in the following compounds are -1, +5 and +7, and that is option A. Thank you, and ensure you subscribe to our channel for more videos and past questions. Hello, good day and welcome. I'll be answering Jamb 2020 Chemistry Past Question 9. A reaction takes place spontaneously if A. Delta G, which is free energy, is 0, B. Delta S, which is the randomness, is less than 0, and delta H, which is the enthalpy change, is greater than 0, C. If delta H is less than T delta S, that is the temperature multiplied by the entropy, and D. If delta G is greater than 0, that is the free energy or the free Gibbs energy is greater than 0. Now, for a reaction to be spontaneous, it is noted that the free Gibbs energy or the free energy, which is delta G, should be less than 0, that is, it must be negative for the reaction to be spontaneous. When delta G is greater than 0, that is, if it is positive, the reaction will not occur. And if delta G is equal to 0, to say that the reaction is in equilibrium. But when it is negative, then the reaction will occur spontaneously. And the Gibbs free energy, which is delta G, is given as enthalpy change minus the temperature multiplied by the entropy change, which is delta S, which is the random degree of randomness or disorderliness of a reaction. Now, for delta G to be negative, it simply means that delta H, which is the enthalpy change, must be less than T as the temperature multiplied by the entropy change. When the enthalpy change is less than this entropy change multiplied by the temperature, then delta G, which is the free Gibbs energy, will be negative, and then the reaction can be spontaneous, making option C the correct answer to this question. Delta H, the enthalpy change, must be less than the temperature multiplied by the entropy change. Thank you, and you should subscribe to the channel for more videos and past questions. Good day and welcome. I'll be answering Jamb 2020 Chemistry Past Question 10. Ethene reacts with hydrogen bromide to give dash. Now, it is noted that ethene here is an alkane, that it has a double bond, and ethene is represented with the formula CH2, the double bond between the two carbon atom, then CH2. Now, ethene is said to be unsaturated. Now, when ethene reacts with hydrogen bromide, which is HBr, there will be what we call addition reaction. That is the addition of hydrogen and bromine to this ethene molecule to give CH3CH2Br. Now, hydrogen and bromine has been added to this ethene to make it what? Saturated, thereby giving us 1-bromo-ethane, and that is option B. So the reaction of ethene with hydrogen bromide will give us 1-bromo-ethane, which is option B. It is an addition reaction to make ethene, which is unsaturated, saturated. Thank you, and you should subscribe to the channel for more videos and past questions. Good day and welcome. I'll be answering Jamb 2020 Chemistry Past Question 11. Carbohydrates are compounds containing carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen in the ratio A 3:1:1, B 2:1:1, C 1:2:1, and D 1:1:1. Now, carbohydrates are organic compounds. Carbohydrates are large organic compounds that is made up of carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. A typical example of this carbohydrate, which is the most common example of carbohydrate, is the glucose that can be found in both plants and animals. Now, glucose is an example of carbohydrate that is made up of carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen, and all carbohydrates are in the ratio of 1:2:1. For example, glucose now, the carbon atom is 6, that of hydrogen is 12, and that of oxygen is 6, given the ratio 1:2:1. So the answer to this question is option C. Thank you, and ensure to subscribe to the channel for more videos and past questions. Hello, good day and welcome. I will be answering Jamb 2020 Chemistry Past Question 12. How many isomers does pentane have? A 6, B 5, C 4, and D 3. Now what are isomers? Now isomers are compounds of the same, having the same molecular formula but different structural formula, and the phenomenon is known as isomerism. So when you hear of isomers, we're talking about compounds with the same molecular formula but different structural formula. Now for instance is pentane. Now pentane has 3 isomers, which are N-pentane, then the 2-methyl-butane, and then 2,2-dimethyl-propane. Now these are the isomers of pentane. Looking at all of them, you see that they all have the same molecular formula, which is C5H12. This is their molecular formula, but then their structural formula is different. Pentane structural formula is C, 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 then having the hydrogen attached to it. Then for 2-methyl-butane, we have C, 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 then a methyl group attached to it in the second carbon. And then for 2,2-dimethylpropane, we have C, 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 then a methyl group here, and also a methyl group here. So you can see that they have the same molecular formula but different structural formula. So the answer to this question is option D. Pentane has 3 isomers, butane has 2 isomers, and so on as hexane and the rest. Thank you, and ensure to subscribe to the channel for more videos and past questions. Welcome. I will be answering Jamb 2020 Chemistry Past Question 13. Proteins in acid solution undergo A. Polymerization, B. Substitution, C. Fermentation, and D. Hydrolysis. Now when proteins, like we know proteins now are made up of amino acids. Proteins are made up of amino acids. When proteins are left in acid solution, this protein undergo what we call hydrolysis. Undergo hydrolysis, that is addition of water to the protein molecule. Now adding water to the protein molecule will help to break the proteolytic bonds that is holding, or what we call the polypeptide bond, holding the amino acids. Now once these polypeptide bonds are broken, which is hydrolysis, that's addition of water to the protein molecule, it will lead to the liberation or to the release of the various constituting amino acids. So when proteins are left in acid solutions, undergoes what we call hydrolysis. Thank you, and ensure to subscribe to the channel for more videos and past questions. Good day and welcome. I will be answering Jamb 2020 Chemistry Past Question 14. The characteristic reaction of the compound with general formula CnH2n+2 is A. Esterification, B. Polymerization, C. Decarboxylation, and D. Substitution. Now the organic compounds or the organic family having this general formula are the alkanes. Alkanes have the general formula CnH2n plus 2. The first example there is the methane, which is CH4. Now, alkanes are generally saturated. They are completely saturated and so cannot undergo addition reaction. The only reaction that they can undergo is what we call the substitution reaction. That is, replacing of the hydrogen atom by either a metal or a halogen. For instance, methane CH4 can react with bromine to give us CH3Br or CH2Br2. Now this is what a substitution reaction. It is replacing the hydrogen atoms, so making option D the correct answer. Now esterification is a reaction between organic acid and an organic base, like ethanoic acid and ethanol, to give you ethanoate and water. That's esterification. So alkanes do not undergo esterification. Now polymerization is actually undergone by the alkene. Alkene undergo polymerization, not alkanes. And decarboxylation involves the removal of CO2, and that is not done in the case of alkene. So the reaction that this compound with the general formula undergo is the substitution reaction because they are completely saturated. So option D is the correct answer to this question. Thank you, and make sure to subscribe to the channel for more videos and past questions. Good day and welcome. I'll be answering Jamb 2020 Chemistry Past Question 15. The pair of organic compounds that are isomers is A. Benzene and methylbenzene, B. Trichloromethane and tetrachloromethane, C. Ethanol and propanol, D. but1-ene and but2-ene. Now we're talking about isomers. Isomers simply refers to compounds with the same molecular formula but different structural formula. Now looking at these compounds, benzene and methylbenzene have a different molecular formula. Also, trichloromethane and tetrachloromethane has a different molecular formula because here we have 3 chlorine and here we have 4 chlorine atom. In benzene we have the normal benzene CH6 C6H6, but in methylbenzene now there is an additional methyl group. Now in ethanol and propanol they have different molecular formula. But looking at but1-ene and but2-ene, but1-ene and but2-ene has the same molecular formula, which is C4H8. Now, but their structural formula is different in the sense that for but1-ene you have C and the double bond in the first attached to the first carbon atom, then like this, and the rest, then you have your hydrogen, 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 hydrogen. This is but1-ene. But for but2-ene, the double bond will be attached to the second carbon atom. So you have the hydrogen, 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 then hydrogen, 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 hydrogen. Now let's count it. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 carbon, like we have. Then the number of hydrogen is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Same too with but1-ene. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the number of carbon atom. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 for the hydrogen atom. So the answer to our question is option D. The same molecular formula, which is C4H8, but different structural formula, having double bond in the first attached to the first carbon atom, and here in the but2-ene having the double bond attached to the second carbon atom. Thank you, and make sure to subscribe to the channel for more videos and past questions. Hello, good day and welcome. I will be answering Jamb 2020 Chemistry Past Question 16. whose experiments show that the atom has a tiny positively charged nucleus? A. Thomson, B. Rutherford, C. Millikan, and D. Dalton. Now, J.J. Thomson was the first scientist to discover that nucleus has a tiny positively charged. That is, he's the first person that determines that atoms has a tiny positively charged nucleus. Then Rutherford, together with his team of medicine and Geiger-Müller, then discovered the contents of this nucleus. They made out experiments and further discovered that the nucleus is made up of the proton and also neutral particles. Then R.A. Millikan then discovered the charge of electron. Then Dalton is a scientist that deduced the atomic theory. But the scientist that showed that atom has a tiny positively charged nucleus is J.J. Thomson, which is option A. Thank you, and ensure to subscribe to our channel for more videos and past questions. Good day and welcome. I will be answering Jamb 2020 Chemistry Past Question 17. Which of the quantum number divides shells into orbitals? A. Principal, B. Subsidiary, C. Magnetic, and D. Spin. Now the principal quantum number simply shows the energy level. It shows the energy level of shell. The subsidiary quantum number represents the sub energy level, or what we call the subshell level. The subshell. Then the magnetic quantum number. Magnetic quantum number simply shows the number of orbitals in an energy level. It simply means that magnetic quantum number divides shells into orbitals. Then the spin quantum number simply shows or describes the orientation of an electron in an orbital. So from this explanation, the answer to this question is option C, magnetic quantum number, that divides shell into orbitals because it represents and shows the number of orbitals in an energy level. Thank you, and you should subscribe to the channel for more videos and past questions. Good day and welcome. I will be answering Jamb 2020 Chemistry Past Question 18. Which of these statements is correct about proton? I. The mass of proton is 1/12 the molar mass of carbon. 2. The mass of a proton is 1,840 times the mass of an electron. 3. The mass of proton is 1.008 gram. Option A says II only, that is statement 2 is correct. Option B says statement 1, 2, and 3 is correct. Option C says statement 1 is correct, and option D says statement 1 and 2 is correct. Now let's look at statement 1. Statement 1 says the mass of proton is 1/12 the molar mass of carbon. Now, it is the molar mass, the relative molar mass of an atom or an element, which when compared to carbon, it says to be 1/12 the molar mass of carbon. And like we know, relative molar mass, or the molar mass of an atom, is a combination or the sum of the number of proton and neutron. So making statement 1 incorrect. Now statement 2 says the mass of proton is 1,840 times the mass of an electron. Now according to J.J. Thomson, discovered the charge to mass ratio. The charge to mass ratio of proton, and from this discovery he deduced that proton is 1840 times heavier than electron. Now this simply means that the mass of proton is 1840 times the mass of an electron. So making statement 2 correct. Now statement 3 says the mass of proton is 1.008 gram, which is wrong. The mass of proton is not 1.008 gram. So from this you can see that the only correct statement here is actually statement 2, which is the mass of a proton is 1840 times the mass of an electron, making option A the correct option. Thank you, and you should subscribe to the channel for more videos and past questions. Good day and welcome. I'll be answering Jamb 2020 Chemistry Past Question 19. Candidate devise the following for separation of components of some mixtures. Now, the components of ink, they used chromatography. That of water and kerosene, they used separating funnel. And for the components of iodine and sodium chloride, they used sublimation. In which of the above is the principle used correct? Now, let's look at the components and the technique they used it extensively. Now, for the components of ink, like we know, ink is a mixture of various compounds. Like ink is made up of various color components, and the best way to separate ink is by checking what the rate of migration or the rate of movement of each of the components that makes up the ink. And like you know, chromatography is the most suitable technique used to separate ink component, because chromatography is a technique that is used to separate a mixture by actually considering the rate of movement of the components of that mixture. So the first statement here is correct. Now, for the components of water and kerosene, like we know, water and kerosene are two immiscible liquids. They are immiscible, that is, they cannot mix with each other. Now, separating funnel is an instrument used to separate what? Immiscible fluids. And since kerosene and water are immiscible, separating funnel is very suitable for separating what? These components. Now, for iodine and sodium chloride, iodine is a salt or is a substance that can easily sublime. When I say sublime, that means it can change from solid state directly to gaseous state without passing through the liquid state. But sodium chloride cannot sublime. Now, if you have a mixture of iodine and sodium chloride, the best way to separate them is actually to apply heat, because once heat is applied, iodine will sublime, leaving out sodium chloride. And so therefore sublimation is actually what? A correct technique for separating these two components. So therefore I is correct, II is correct, and III is correct. In option D, the correct answer to this question. Thank you, and ensure to subscribe to the channel for more videos and past questions. Good day and welcome. I will be answering Jamb 2020 Chemistry Past Question 20. Which of the following procedures will separate a mixture of sand, sodium chloride, and iodine into its components? A. Add water, filter, sublime, evaporate to dryness. B. Add water, sublime, filter, evaporate to dryness. C. Sublime, filter, add water, evaporate to dryness. And D. Sublime, add water, filter, evaporate to dryness. Now let's take it gradually. We have a mixture of sand, sodium chloride, and iodine. Now, like we know, iodine in this mixture can sublime, that is, it can change directly from solid to gaseous state. So the first thing to do is to sublime. By adding heat, iodine will sublime, leaving out sand and sodium chloride. So we've cancelled out iodine. Now the next thing now to do is to add water. Now let's check which of these two components is soluble in water. Is it sand or sodium chloride? Now add water. Addition of water will enable us to determine which is soluble. Now when water is added, it will be discovered that sodium chloride, which is a salt, common salt, is soluble in water, while sand is insoluble. Now since sand is insoluble, the only way we can take out sand is by filtration. Now when you filter using filter paper, sand will be left out as residue, while sodium chloride solution will be removed as filtrate. Now for us to get, now we've cancelled out sand as the residue from the filtration. Now remember, sodium chloride is still in the solution, that is, it's in the filtrate now. Now to get sodium chloride, since it is soluble, we now evaporate that solution to dryness. By evaporating to dryness, the water components will be left out, that is, the water we added will go giving outwards sodium chloride. So we evaporate to dryness. So this is the step in the separation of the following component. To sublime to remove iodine, you add water so you can filter to remove the residue, which is sand, and then you can now evaporate the solution to dryness to give off sodium chloride. So the answer to this question is option D. Thank you, and ensure to subscribe to our channel for more videos and past questions. Good day and welcome. I will be answering Jamb 2020 Chemistry Past Question 21. The types of bonds in ammonium chloride are. Now ammonium chloride is represented as NH4Cl. Ammonium chloride is made up of a combination of ammonia, NH3, plus hydrogen atom, then plus chloride ion. Now this ammonia is made of nitrogen and 3 atoms of hydrogen. So nitrogen plus 3 atoms of hydrogen will give us ammonia, NH3. Now the bond here is what we call the ordinary covalent bond, that involves the sharing of electron between the 2 atoms. Now sharing of this electron, the electron that are shared are actually donated by both atoms involved in the bond. That is, nitrogen will donate and the hydrogen atoms will also donate electrons to be shared, and we call it paired electrons. Now ammonia, when formed, we combine with one atom of hydrogen now to form what we call ammonium, NH4 plus. Now the bond, or the type of bond between ammonia and this hydrogen atom to form ammonium, is called dative bond. This is because, unlike the covalent bond, only this ammonia donates electron to be shared, and we call it a lone pair. The hydrogen involved here do not donate any electron, so it is a dative bond. Now ammonium will combine with chloride ion to give ammonium chloride. Now the type of bond here is known as the electrovalent bond or the ionic bond. This is because the ammonium transfers electron to the chlorine atom. It transfers electron to the chlorine atom, making it to form the ammonium chloride. So the transfer of electron is an electrovalent bond. So therefore there are 3 types of bond in ammonium chloride: the covalent, dative, and electrovalent, which is option D. Thank you, and ensure to subscribe to the channel for more videos and past questions. Hello, good day and welcome. I will be answering Jamb 2020 Chemistry Past Question 22. Which of the following type of bond does not produce a compound? A. Ionic bond, B. Covalent bond, C. Dative bond, and D. Metallic bond. Now looking at ionic bond is a type of bond in substance like sodium chloride. Now looking at this, you have sodium and you have chlorine. Now ionic bond simply involves the transfer of electron from one atom, usually a metal, to another atom, which is a non-metal. Like the transfer of electron from sodium to chlorine to form sodium chloride is an example of ionic bond, and like you can see now, the compound is formed, which is sodium chloride. Also, covalent bond also leads to the formation of a compound, but in covalent bond it involves the sharing of electrons. The atoms that are involved in covalent bond donate the electrons to be shared. An example is ammonia, N, where you have nitrogen plus 3 atoms of hydrogen to give you ammonia. Ammonia is a compound. So sodium, nitrogen and hydrogen shares electron. Both nitrogen and hydrogen donate the electrons to be shared, and then they form the compound ammonia. Dative bond also can be seen in ammonium, where you have the bond between ammonia and hydrogen proton. Now, looking at this, you see that only ammonia donates the electron to be shared, but still a compound is formed, which is ammonium, which is different from ammonia and different from hydrogen. But looking at metallic bond is the bond between the atoms of a metal. Metallic bond helps towards keep a metal in place. Like for instance, the type of bond in between the atoms of tin, iron, sodium are metallic bond. Now in this case, you see that this metallic bond do not result in the formation of any compound at all. So the answer to this question is option D, metallic bond, because it does not produce a compound. Thank you, and ensure to subscribe to the channel for more videos on past questions. Hello, good day and welcome. I'll be answering Jamb 2020 Chemistry Past Question 23. The combining powers of HClO3, O2 minus, and Na plus Cl minus, that is the trioxochlorate ion, the oxygen ion, sodium ion, and the chloride ion, respectively are. So we have to find the combining powers of these radicals or these elements given. Now, like we know, when we're talking about combining powers, we're talking about combining power of a substance or a compound or an element. We're talking about the valency of such compound or elements. Now, valency has no charge, it has no sign. It has no sign, either positive or negative, unlike ions. Ions are represented with this charge, either positive charge or negative charge. But for valency just simply represent the combining power of such compound, substance, or elements. And so therefore, the combining power or the valency of trioxochlorate will be 1. That of oxygen will be 2 because it has no charge. That of sodium will be 1, and that of chloride ion will be 1. So the answer to this question is option B. Thank you, and ensure to subscribe to the channel for more videos and past questions. Good day and welcome. I will be answering Jamb 2020 Chemistry Past Question 24. What is the chemical formula of the compound containing 6.02 times 10 to the power of 23 atoms of hydrogen, 35 grams of chlorine, and 4 oxygen atoms? Now looking at this, a compound containing 6.02 times 10 to the power of 23 atoms of hydrogen. This number here is what we call the Avogadro's number. So it simply represents what? 1 atom of hydrogen. Now 35 gram of chlorine, 35 gram of chlorine simply represents an atom of chlorine, because this 35 gram is the relative molecular mass of chlorine. So it represents an atom of chlorine. Then plus 4 oxygen atoms. 4 oxygen atoms, that's O4. Now adding this together, we have HClO4. So this is the compound, and that is option C. Thank you, and ensure to subscribe to the channel for more videos and past questions. Good day and welcome. I will be answering Jamb 2020 Chemistry Past Question 25. 200 centimeter cube of hydrogen were collected over water at 30 degrees Celsius and 760 millimeter mercury. Calculate the volume of the gas at STP if the vapor pressure of water at temperature of the experiment is 14 millimeter mercury. Option A says 168.25 centimeter cube, B 176.40 centimeter cube, C 185.46 centimeter cube, and D 172.14 centimeter cube. Now from this we can see V1 is given as 200 centimeter cube, then T1 is equals to 30 degrees Celsius, which is equals to 303 Kelvin. Then P1 is equals to 760 millimeter mercury minus the vapor pressure of water at that exact temperature, which is 14 millimeter mercury, and that will give us 726 millimeter mercury. Then V2 is what we are looking for, the unknown. P2, that is the pressure at STP, which is 760 millimeter mercury, and T2 is equals to 273 Kelvin. Now, using the general gas equation, V1 P1 over T1 is equals to V2 P2 all over T2. We have that V2 is equals to V1 P1 T2 all over P2 times T1. So V2 will be equals to V1, which is 200, multiplied by P1, which is 726, multiplied by T2, which is 273 all over P2, which is 760, multiplied by T1, which is 303. Now when you do this, you have that the V2 will be equals to 172.14 centimeter cube, and this is the answer to the question, which is option D. Thank you, and ensure to subscribe to the channel for more videos and past questions. Good day and welcome. I will be answering Jamb 2020 Chemistry Past Question 26. A given mass of gas occupies a certain volume at 300 Kelvin. At what temperature will the volume double? Now looking at this expression, we're dealing with Charles' law here. Charles' law. And from Charles' law we have V1 over T1 is equals to V2 over T2. Now V1 is equals to is unknown and V2 is equals to 2 V1. From the statement, they say at what temperature would the volume double? Simply means that the V2 will be equals to twice the V1. Then T1 is given as 300 Kelvin and T2 is unknown. Now from V1 over T1 is equals to V2 all over T2, we're going to have that T2 is equal to V1 all over T2 is going to be V2 multiplied by T1 all over V1. So T2 is equals to V2. Now V2 is 2 V1 multiplied by T1, which is 300 all over V1. V1 will cancel V1, giving us that leaving us T2 is equals to 2 times 300, and that is equals to 600 Kelvin. So the temperature at which the volume will double is equal to 600 Kelvin, which is option D. Thank you, and just subscribe to the channel for more videos and past questions. Good day and welcome. I will be answering Jamb 2020 Chemistry Past Question 27. The basic assumption in the kinetic theory of gas that forces of attraction and repulsion between gaseous molecules are negligible implies that A. Molecules will continue their motion indefinitely. B. Gases will occupy any volume. C. Gases can be compressed, and D. None of the above. Now looking at this statement, forces of attraction, that's cohesive forces, and repulsion between gaseous molecules are negligible simply implies that the cohesive force or force of cohesion between gas molecules are negligible. Now looking at this, unlike the solid and the gas, for solid and gas, their cohesive force between the molecules is not negligible. It is very, very significant, and that is why you see that the solid is more packed, because the cohesive forces in the solid molecules is stronger than that of the liquid, not gas, liquid, sorry, is stronger than that of liquid, and that is why you see that solid are more packed and fixed than the liquid, and that is why you see that both solid and liquid cannot be compressed. They cannot be compressed because of the strong coercive force between their molecules. But in terms of gas, the coercive force in between the gas molecules is very, very negligible, and that brings about the compression of gases, and that is why gases can be compressed into any volume. So the right answer, or the right implication of this statement, is actually option C. Gases can be compressed. Thank you, and ensure to subscribe to the channel for more videos and past questions. Good day and welcome. I will be answering Jamb 2020 Chemistry Past Question 28. Which of the following is true of a sample of hydrogen gas whose mass is 4 grams under a pressure of 2 atm and a temperature of 27 degrees Celsius? H, that is the molar mass of hydrogen, is 1. The molar gas constant is 0.082 liter dot atmosphere mole per Kelvin. Now it is said that the volume is 24.6 liters. It contains 6.02 times 10 to the power 23 molecules. It exists as atom because of temperature, and D says none of the above. Now looking at this question, we are given hydrogen gas with a mass of 4 grams. Now the molar mass of hydrogen, that is for one atom of hydrogen, is 1, and 1 mole of hydrogen is represented as H2, so that is equals to 2 grams. Now the gram given to us is 4 grams, so it simply means now to get the mole of hydrogen, we simply divide the given mass, which is 4 all over 2, and that will give us 2. So the mole of hydrogen given, which is N, is equals to 2 moles. Now the pressure P is equals to 2 atmosphere. The molar gas constant R is equals to 0.082. Then the temperature T is given as 27 degrees Celsius, which is equals to 300 Kelvin. Now we are asked to find which of the statements is correct. Now looking at these parameters given, volume is absent. Now let's find the volume of this hydrogen gas. So from the ideal gas equation, PV is equals to nRT. So from here we can say V is equals to nRT all over P. That is, V is equals to 2, which is the mole, multiplied by 0.082, multiplied by T, which is 300, all over P, which is 2. So from here we can say that V is equals to 24.6 liters. Now looking at the options, you agree with me that the correct answer already to this question is actually option A, because it is so clear and obvious that the volume of this hydrogen gas is 24.6 liters as said in option A. So option A is actually correct. Now looking at option B says it contains 6.02 times 10 to the power 23 molecules. Now this option is wrong because this number, or this Avogadro's number, are only valid for 1 mole of a gas, but since it is 2 mole of a gas, it should be 2 times this value. But since it is 1 mole of a gas, that is when this can be valid. But now our hydrogen here is having 2 moles, so making this wrong. So the correct answer to this question is option A. Thank you, and ensure to subscribe to the channel for more videos and past questions. Hello, good day and welcome. I will be answering Jamb 2020 Chemistry Past Question 29. The following are chemical entities identifiable during qualitative analysis. 1. SO4 2-, 2. H3O+, 3. NH4+, and 4. OH-. Now this is a sulfate ion, hydroxonium ion, ammonium ion, and hydroxyl ion. Which of them can be detected by litmus paper? Now looking at these ions, or these chemical entities given, looking at them, H3O+, which is the hydroxonium ion, we call it hydroxonium, is acidic. If allowed to dissolve in water, will form what? An acidic solution, and will turn blue litmus red. So it can be detected by what? By litmus paper. Also, OH minus, known as hydroxyl ion, we call it the hydroxyl ion, is a basic ion because if allowed to dissolve in water will form an alkali, and so therefore can be detected by litmus paper because it turns red litmus paper blue, so it can be detected by litmus paper. But the sulfate ion and the ammonium ion cannot be detected by what? Litmus paper. They can't be detected by litmus paper. So the answer to this question is actually option A, II and IV only. Thank you, and ensure to subscribe to the channel for more videos and past questions. Good day and welcome. I'll be answering Jamb 2020 Chemistry Past Question 30. Now we're given 3 salts. The first is an acidic salt, which is sodium Hydrogentrioxocarbonate 4. The second is also an acidic salt, which is sodium Hydrogentrioxosulfate 6. And then the last is a normal salt, which is sodium chloride. Now, which of these will dissolve in water to give an alkaline solution? Now, let's look at sodium Hydrogentrioxocarbonate 4, NaHCO3. Now, NaHCO3 will dissolve is a white crystalline solid. A white crystalline solid which dissolves slightly. It dissolves slightly in water to give an alkaline aqueous solution. Now this alkaline aqueous solution is due to hydrolysis. Now due to hydrolysis of sodium Hydrogentrioxocarbonate 4, when added to water, it will form what we call sodium hydroxide in water, forming an alkaline aqueous solution. But for sodium Hydrogentrioxosulfate 6, it doesn't form an alkaline solution, it forms an acidic solution. Why sodium chloride forms a normal solution, that is a solution with a normal pH. So the answer to this question is option C, which is I only. So only sodium Hydrogentrioxocarbonate 4 will dissolve in water to produce an alkaline solution due to hydrolysis and leads to the formation of sodium hydroxide. Thank you, and ensure to subscribe to the channel for more videos and past questions. Hello, good day and welcome. I will be answering Jamb 2020 Chemistry Past Question 31. Burning of 0.46 gram of ethanol produced heat that raised the temperature of 100 gram of water by 30 degrees Celsius. Calculate the heat of combustion of ethanol, given that the molecular formula of ethanol is C2H5OH. Now, option A says 50 kilojoules per mole, B says 900 kilojoules per mole, C 1260 kilojoules per mole, and this is 1000 kilojoules per mole. Now let's calculate. Ethanol was burnt, so the heat evolved from the combustion of ethanol is equivalent to the heat that is required to raise the temperature of water by 30 degrees Celsius. So therefore we can say that heat evolved is equal to mass of water multiplied by the specific heat capacity of water multiplied by the temperature rise of water, and that is equal to the mass of water is 100 gram multiplied by 4.2, which is the specific heat capacity of water, multiplied by the temperature rise, which is 30, and this will give us 12,600 joules. 12,600 joules. So this is the heat that was evolved in the combustion of ethanol. Now, mass of ethanol that was burnt is equal to 0.46 gram. Now, relative molecular mass of ethanol is equal to, ethanol is C2H5OH. So when you calculate this, that is, we have 2 carbon, which is 2 times 12, plus 6 hydrogen, which is 6 times 1, then plus an oxygen, which is 16, and that will give us 46. So 46 is the relative molecular mass of ethanol. Now, number of moles of ethanol present now will be equals to number of moles of ethanol that was combusted will be equals to the amount given to us, which is 0.46 all over the molecular mass of ethanol, which is 46, and that will give us what? That will give us 0.01 mole. So 0.01 mole is the number of mole of ethanol that was combusted. Now, if 1 mole of ethanol, we produce, if 0.01 mole, if 0. Because that was the amount combusted, if 0.01 mole of ethanol when combusted will produce 12,600 joules. Now, what will be the quantity of heat produced when 1 mole of ethanol will be combusted? So for 1 mole of ethanol, that will be equals to 12,600 joules all over 0.01, and that will be equal to 1,260 kilojoules per mole, because from this calculation we are going to be having 1260000. So converting it now to kilojoules, we are removing 3 zeros, and that gives us 1260 kilojoules per mole. So this is the final answer to the question. So for 1 mole of ethanol, the heat of combustion is 1260 kilojoules per mole, and that is option C. Thank you, and ensure subscribe to our channel for more videos and past questions. Good day and welcome. I'll be answering Jamb 2020 chemistry past question 32. When chlorine is bubbled into potassium iodide solution, A white precipitate is seen, B reddish brown color develops, C solution remains colorless, and D blue color is seen. Now, chlorine is a halogen, likewise iodine, but chlorine is more reactive than iodine. Now, in a potassium iodide solution, when chlorine is bubbled into the solution, chlorine will displace iodine and takes the position of iodine, now forming a potassium chloride solution. And potassium chloride solution is a colorless solution. It has no color, so therefore the solution remains colorless. Thank you, and ensure subscribe to our channel for more videos and past questions. Hello, good day and welcome. I'll be answering Jamb 2020 chemistry past question 33. PCl5 gives PCl3 plus PCl2. Now, in this reaction, an increase in pressure will A. Decelerate the reaction, B. Increase the yield of PCl3, C. Increase the yield of PCl5, and D. Accelerate the reaction. Now, looking at this reaction, the reactant and the product are both in gaseous state. Like you can see, PCl5 is in gaseous state, and the PCl3 is in gaseous state, and the PCl2 is in gaseous state. All these are chloride of phosphorus, that's phosphorus chloride. Now, looking at this, an increase in pressure will have effects on this equation. Now, the effect of pressure on this equation depends on the amount of substance in the reactant and also in the product side. Now, the number of moles of reactants here is 1, and the number of moles of the products, combining that of the phosphorus 3 chloride and the phosphorus 2 chloride, that will give us 2. 1 plus 1 will give us 2. Now, that is, the product has more substance than the reactant. Now, increase in pressure will favor the backward reaction. Increase in pressure will favor the backward reaction because the backward reaction is less in terms of amounts compared to the forward reaction, and so increase in pressure will tend to favor the backward reaction that has a lesser amount of substance, which is the reactant, and that is the phosphorus 5 chloride. So it will increase the yield of PCl5 and not PCl3 because the amount of the product is more than the amount of the reactant, and so increase in pressure will increase the yield of PCl5. But if there was to be a decrease in pressure, then the product will be favored. That's the forward reaction is going to be favored, and that will be the increase in the yield of PCl3. So the answer to this question is actually option C, increase the yield of PCl5, which is the reactant. Thank you, and ensure to subscribe to the channel for more videos and past questions. Good day and welcome. I'll be answering Jamb 2020 Chemistry Past Question 36. Which of the following is the difference between an electrolytic cell X and electrochemical cell Y? A. Anode in X, which is the electrolytic cell, is negative while anode in Y is positive. B. In X, oxidation takes place at the anode, while in Y, reduction takes place at the anode. C. In X, anode is positive while in Y, anode is negative. And D. In X, chemical energy is converted to electrical energy, while in Y, electrical energy is converted to chemical energy. Now we are asked for the difference between electrolytic cell and an electrochemical cell. Now an electrolytic cell converts, that's for X converts, electrolytic cell converts electrical energy, it converts electrical energy into chemical energy. That's for the electrolytic cell. But for the Y, which is the electrochemical cell, it converts chemical energy, like the battery, it converts chemical energy into electrical energy. For example, the dry cell, the battery that we have. Now, both electrolytic cells and electrochemical cells has what we call the anode and the cathode. They have what we call the anode and cathode. Now, for the electrolytic cell, the anode is positive. So for X, the anode is positively charged. Then for Y now, which is the electrochemical cell, the anode is negative. Anode is negative for Y. Also for the cathode, in X the cathode is negative, but in Y the cathode is positive. But oxidation takes place in both anodes. That is, oxidation takes place at the anode of X, which is positively charged, and also at the anode of Y, which is negatively charged. Now let's go back to the question. The question is asking us for the difference between these two types of cells. Now the answer to this question is option C, which says in X anode is positive, just like I have said, while in Y the anode is negative. So that is the answer to the question. Option D is wrong because in X, which is an electrolytic cell, it converts electrical energy to chemical energy and not chemical energy to electrical energy. So that's made it wrong already. So the right answer to this question is option C. Thank you, and ensure to subscribe to the channel for more videos and past questions. Hello, good day and welcome. I will be answering Jamb 2020 Chemistry Past Question 37. What mass of bromine will saturate completely 6.8 gram of 3-methyl botswanine? Now we are given the molar mass of hydrogen to be 1, that of carbon to be 12, and that of bromine to be 18. A says 16 gram, B 32 gram, C 12 gram, and D 24 gram. Now 3-methyl botswanine is written as this. Let me draw the structural formula. We have C, since it's bots, that is 4 carbon atoms. The parent chain has 4 carbon atoms, C, then 3 bonds, since it's botswanine. So the triple bond is located to the first carbon atom. Then 3-methyl, that means the methyl group is attached to the third carbon atom, which is this. So this is the structural formula. Now, looking at this 3-methyl butanol ion, it is observed that it is an unsaturated hydrocarbon, and for it to be saturated, we have to break this triple bond into single bond, and by adding bromine will replace this triple bond. Now, for 1 mole of 3-methyl butanol ion, we require, so for 1 mole of, let me give the molecular formula, which is C5H8. So for 1 mole of C5H8, which is 3-methyl butanol ion, we require 4 atoms of bromine to saturate it. So 4 atoms of bromine is required to saturate 1 mole of 3-methyl butanol ion. In other words, converting these 4 atoms of bromine into grams, that is the mass, we have 4 multiplied by the relative molecular mass of bromine, which is 80, and that will give us 320 grams. So therefore, 320 grams of bromine is required to saturate 1 mole of 3-methyl butanol ion. Now, 1 mole of 3-methyl butanol ion, which is C5H8, has a mass of 68 grams. Now this 68 grams is gotten by the calculation, that is 5 multiplied by 12, which is the mass of carbon, and that will give us 60, then plus 8 multiplied by 1, 8 here, and that's number of hydrogen atom multiplied by 1, which is the molar mass of hydrogen, and that gives us 8. So 8 plus 60 give us 68 grams. So for 1 mole of 3-methyl butanol ion, we have 68 grams. So that means 320 grams of bromine will be required to saturate 68 grams of 3-methyl butanol ion. Now, since 320 grams can saturate 68 grams, then we look for the amount of bromine that can saturate 6.8 grams of 3-methyl butanol ion. So we cross multiply. When we cross multiply, we'll have 68x is equals to 320 multiplied by 6.8. So x is equals to 320 multiplied by 6.8 all over 68. And so x will be equals to 32 grams. So 32 grams of bromine is required to saturate completely 6.8 grams of 3-methyl butanol ion, and that is option B. Thank you, and you should subscribe to the channel for more videos and past questions. Hello, good day and welcome. I'll be answering Jamb 2020 Chemistry Past question 39. Sulfur A forms 2 alkaline oxides, B is spontaneously inflammable, C burns with a blue flame, and D conducts electricity in molten state. So we are asked to pick an option which is the correct property of sulfur. Now looking at this, I will briefly describe sulfur. Now sulfur is a yellow solid. It's an element. You can find sulfur on the periodic table. It's an element and it belongs to the group 6 of the periodic table. Now sulfur is a yellow solid. It exists in 2 forms. Sulfur exists in 2 forms, that is the amorphous sulfur and crystalline sulfur. And remember, sulfur also exhibits what? Allotropy. It exhibits allotropy. Now sulfur is insoluble in water. It is insoluble in water. Like I said, it is insoluble in water. Now sulfur does not conduct electricity, so making option D wrong. Do not conduct electricity at all. Do not conduct electricity. sulfur do not conduct electricity. Now, sulfur also forms two acidic oxides, that is the SO2 and SO3. So these two oxides of sulfur are acidic oxide, not alkaline, making option A wrong. Option B says it's spontaneously inflammable. Sulfur is not spontaneously inflammable. Sulfur only burns when there is plenty, burns in the presence of plenty oxygen. When there's enough O2, when there's enough oxygen, that's when sulfur burns, which is not spontaneously inflammable. And when sulfur burns, it burns with a bright blue flame. So you can see that option C is actually correct. Option B is wrong. So sulfur burns with a what? With a bright blue flame. So option C is the correct answer to our question. Thank you, and ensure to subscribe to the channel for more videos and past questions. Hello, good day and welcome. I'll be answering Jamb 2020 Chemistry Past Question 40. Which of the following combination of reagents will react to give chlorine gas? That is, which of these reagents, when reacted or combined chemically together, will give or will liberate chlorine gas? A says sodium chloride, that's concentrated H2SO4 and manganese 4 oxide. B says potassium tetraoxomanganate 7 and concentrated H2SO4. Then C says potassium triiosochlorate 5 and concentrated H2SO4. C says potassium tetraoxomanganate 6 and conc H2SO4. Now the reactants here that will give chlorine gas are actually sodium chloride, conc H2SO4 and manganese 4 oxide. I will state the reaction below. So sodium chloride plus manganese 4 oxide plus conc H2SO4 will react to give sodium tetraoxosulfate 6 salts plus manganese tetraoxosulfate 6 also SO4, then plus H2O plus the chlorine gas. Now balancing this equation here, we'll have 2 here, then we have 2 H2O. Now sodium chloride plus manganese 4 oxide plus H2SO4, which is conc H2SO4, will give us chlorine gas, will liberate chlorine gas. So option A is the correct answer to this question. Thank you, and ensure to subscribe to the channel for more videos and past questions. Hello, good day and welcome. I'll be answering Jamb 2020 Chemistry Past Question 41. Which of the following compounds will give a precipitate with an aqueous ammoniacal solution of copper 1 chloride? Now A, we have this compound given to us, that is CH3H, CH3 with bromine. This is supposed to be bromine, sorry. Then B, we have CH3C, double bond CCH3. Then C, we have HCC, CH2, CH3, and D, we have CH2, CH, CH2. Now we are asked for which of the following compounds will react with ammoniacal solution of copper 1 chloride to give a precipitate. Now precipitates will only be given when alkynes reacts with aqueous ammoniacal solution of copper 1 chloride. Now when alkynes react with this solution, they give off red brown precipitates. Example is ethene. Now for us to determine which answer or which option is correct, we have to know which of this option here is an alkyne, that is belongs to the alkyne family. Now option A says C, so we have 1 2 3, we have 3 carbon atom here, 3 carbon atom, and already it is already obvious that what this carbon attached has a double bond, so this is an alkene already. This is an alkene, not an alkyne, so automatically this is wrong already. Option B also, we have C, 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 C. Already also this is an alkene, making it what? Making it wrong. Then option C now. Option C, we have C attached to one hydrogen atom, then we have a triple bond, then C, then we have C again attached to 2 hydrogen, we have C attached to 3 hydrogen. Now already you see that this is a what? Is an alkyne because it has a triple bond, and this alkyne is known as butyne. This is butyne. Now option D here says, already option D is obvious that this is an alkane. Option D is an alkane. Now looking at it, I told you that only alkynes react with ammoniacal solution of copper 1 chloride to give what? A red brown precipitate, and the only alkyne in this option is option C, which is butyne. So this is the correct answer to this question. Thank you, and ensure subscribe to our channel for more videos and past questions. Good day and welcome. I will be answering Jamb 2020 Chemistry Past Question 42. The efficiency of petrol as a fuel in high compression internal combustion engines improves with an increase in the amount of A. Branch chain alkanes, B. Straight chain alkanes, C. Cycloalkanes, and D. Halogenated hydrocarbon. Now, there is what we call octane number of petrol. Now octane number of petrol is used to determine the efficiency of petrol. Petrol with low octane number has a low efficiency. Now looking at this, the efficiency of petrol as a fuel in high compression internal combustion engine improves with an increase in branch chain hydrocarbon. For example, the 2,2,3-trimethyl pentane is a is a branch chain hydrocarbon which has contributed immensely to improve the efficiency of petrol, and it has what? Anti-knocking properties. It gives petrol the anti-knocking properties because of the increased efficiency of petrol. Now looking at this 2,2,3-trimethyl pentane is a branch chain alkane. So the efficiency of petrol actually increases, or the octane number of petrol increases when this increase in number of branch chain alkanes, and that is option A. So option A is the correct answer to this question. Thank you, and ensure subscribe to the channel for more videos and past questions. Good day and welcome. I will be answering Jamb 2020 Chemistry Past Question 43. Which of the following represents ethyl ethanoate? Which of the following represents ethyl ethanoate? Now ethyl ethanoate belongs to the organic family called the alkanoids, and they are formed as a result of the reaction between organic acid and an organic base. For example, reaction between ethanoic acid and ethanol will give us ethyl ethanoate. Now the question is asking us for the molecular formula of ethyl ethanoate. Now ethyl ethanoate is represented as CH3COO C2H5. This is the molecular formula for ethyl ethanoate, and from the option you can see that option D corresponds with this, having CH3CO2, that is 2 oxygen, which is this, then CH2, that is splitting this ethyl group, which is CH2, then CH3. So this is the ethyl group and this is the ethanoate group, so giving us ethyl ethanoate. So option D is the correct answer to this question. Thank you, and ensure to subscribe to the channel for more videos and past questions. Hello, good day and welcome. I will be answering Jamb 2020 Chemistry Past Question 44. Which of the following cannot be obtained by fractional distillation of petroleum? A. Ether, B. Methane, C. Butane, D. Ethane, and E. Hydrogen. Now, petroleum, also known as crude oil, is a raw material. Now, this crude oil undergoes fractional distillation, so it can be split into its various components. Now, once petroleum is fractionally distilled, the resulting substance or materials include the petroleum gas. We have the petroleum gas that includes methane, butane, ethane, and propane. So these four compounds are petroleum gas. Also, we have the ethers and ligurion. Then we have the petrol itself, that is the PMS. Then we have kerosene. We have gas oil, the diesel oil, lubricating oil, bitumen, and other residues. Now, looking at what I've listed below, you see that out of our options, option A, which says ether, it is what's included. Methane is also included, butane is included, and ethane. Now, methane, butane, ethane falls under the petroleum gas. Then ether is also there, which is this. Now, the only option which is not part of the resulting substance from the fractional distillation of petroleum is the hydrogen, that is hydrogen gas. So making is the answer to this question. So hydrogen gas cannot be gotten or cannot be obtained from the fractional distillation of petroleum. Thank you, and ensure subscribe to the channel for more videos and past questions. Hello, good day and welcome. I'll be answering Jamb 2020 Chemistry Past Question 45. In the reaction, nitrogen gas combined with oxygen gas to give nitric oxide. An increase in the total pressure will A. Cause less nitrogen to be produced in the equilibrium mixture, B. Cause less nitric oxide to be produced in the equilibrium mixture, C. Cause more nitric oxide to be produced in the equilibrium mixture, and D. Cause more oxygen to be produced in the equilibrium mixture. E says have no effect. Now, when you have a given reaction like we have here, we have nitrogen plus oxygen to give us nitric oxide, and for pressure to have effect on this kind of reaction, there are two conditions. Number one condition is that both reactants and products must be in a gaseous state, and if you can confirm from our reaction, both reactants and products are in gaseous states. Now, another condition is that the amount of reactants should not be equal to the amount of products, nor the amount of products should not be equal to the amount of reactants. Now, looking at this reaction given to us, now we have 1 mole of nitrogen and 1 mole of oxygen. When we add this together, it will give us 2 moles of reactants. Now, looking at the product, we have 2 mole of nitric oxide, so that is 2 moles of product. Now, because the amount of the reactant and product is the same, the pressure will not have effect on this reaction. Pressure can only have effect if they are both gases like we have, and then if the amount of this substance, that is the reactant, is not equal with the amount of the product. But if it is equal with the amount of the product, then the pressure will have no effect on the reaction. And so therefore option E is the correct answer to this question. The total pressure will have no effect on the reactants. Thank you, and ensure to subscribe to the channel for more videos and past questions. Hello, good day and welcome. I'll be answering Jamb 2020 Chemistry Past Question 46. The ores that can be concentrated by flotation are A. Nitride ores, nitride ores, B. Sulfide ores, C. Oxide ores, and D. Chloride ores. Now, the ores that can be concentrated by flotation are basically the sulfide ores. An example of sulfide ore is that of zinc, the zinc sulfide ore. Now you see that for this zinc to be extracted, it has to be what? Concentrated. And in order to concentrate this zinc, that is by eliminating the impurity which include the sulfur and the other substances, it must what? Undergo flotation. So flotation is basically used to what? To concentrate or to extract metals that their ores are what? Are sulfide ores. Those metals that has oxide ores can be removed by what? Electrolysis. Also, those of what? Example of an oxide ore is that of aluminium, which is the bauxite. It is extracted using electrolysis. For the chloride ore also, we can also use electrolysis to extract metals whose ores are in form of what? Chloride ores. Example is that of sodium and potassium and also calcium. We call it fused calcium chloride or fused sodium chloride. Now they are extracted from their ores via electrolysis, but for sulfide ores we use what? Flotation to extract them. An example, like I said, is the zinc sulfide. So the answer to this question is option B, sulfide ores. Thank you, and ensure to subscribe to the channel for more videos and past questions. Good day and welcome. I will be answering Jamb 2020 Chemistry Past Question 47. The property used in the separation of nitrogen and oxygen from air is A. Rate of diffusion, B. Density, C. Boiling point, and D. Solubility. Now, nitrogen and oxygen, like we know, nitrogen and oxygen are basic components of air. Like we know, air is a mixture comprising of 78% nitrogen and 21% of oxygen. Now, for us to get nitrogen or oxygen from air, two processes is involved. Number one is what? Liquefaction of air. Air has to be liquefied, like remember, liquefaction of air. Then the next is by fractional distillation. Now, after air has been liquefied, it has to undergo what we call fractional distillation. Now, this is because nitrogen and oxygen, which are the components of air, has different boiling points. Now, based on their difference in boiling points, when they undergo fractional distillation using a distillation column and a thermometer, each of these nitrogen and oxygen would distill out at their various corresponding temperature. Now, nitrogen would distill out first, leaving oxygen, which then distill out. So it is based on their boiling points. So the answer to this question is option C. Thank you, and ensure to subscribe to the channel for more videos and past questions. Good day and welcome. I will be answering Jamb 2020 Chemistry Past Question 48. The general formula of alkyl halide, where X represents the halide, is A. CnH2nX, B. CnH2n plus 1x, C. CnH2n plus 2x, and D. CnH2n2x. Now, when you hear of the word alkyl halide, it simply means that we have a halogen attached to an alkyl group. Now, in hydrocarbon or in organic chemistry, alkyl group is represented by this formula CnH2n plus 1. Now, with the addition of halogen, which is said to be represented as X, it will definitely give us what? This will give us CnH2n plus 1x. Now, this is what we call an alkyl halide. So the answer to this question is actually option B, alkyl halide. Thank you, and ensure to subscribe to our channel for more videos and past questions. Hello, good day and welcome. I will be answering Jamb 2020 Chemistry Past Question 49. Which of the following are made by the process of polymerization? Which of the following are made by the process of polymerization? Now, polymerization just simply refers to the process whereby complex compounds are formed from simple or simpler compounds. Now we call these complex compounds polymers. The complex compounds are called polymers, and then the simpler ones, or their units, we call them the monomers. That is their monomeric units, monomers. Now, which of the following are made by the process of polymerization? Nylon and artificial rubber are actually the two substances here that are made by polymerization. We have two types of polymerization, but that of nylon and artificial rubber is what we call the condensation. We call them condensation polymers. That is, they are formed by what? Condensation of what? Various monomers. So nylon and artificial rubber are the two substances here that are made by the process of polymerization. Soap here is made by saponification of fats and oil. Saponification. Now butane is an alkene. Then margarine here is gotten by the hydrogenation of fats. That will give you margarine, but saponification will give you what? Soap. But nylon and artificial rubber are made from what? By polymerization, that is condensation of their various monomers. So the answer to this question is option B, nylon and artificial rubber. Thank you, and ensure to subscribe to our channel for more videos and past questions. Good day and welcome. I'll be answering Jamb 2020 Chemistry Past Question 50. Starch can be converted to ethyl alcohol by A. Distillation, B. Fermentation, C. Isomerization, and D. Cracking. Now, starch, like we know, is a polysaccharide. Starch is a polysaccharide. Now, starch occur naturally in plants and in plants like the maize, cassava, yam, potato, and so on and so forth. Now, when starch undergo fermentation, that is, when starch is fermented, it produces what we call ethyl alcohol. So fermentation of fats produce ethyl alcohol. So the answer to this question is option B, fermentation. Thank you, and ensure to subscribe to the channel for more videos and past questions.